Alright, so we're going to do a transmission service. We're going to find the fill plug, which is this one right here, and it is a 24, so you want to loosen that up first, because if you can't break this loose, then you won't be able to fill up the transmission. So let's break this loose. So we're going to completely remove it. Go underneath and drain the fluid. Alright, so now we're going to locate the drain, which is this bolt right here. It's a T40, so we're going to remove this. Make sure that you place it correctly, because you could strip these. These are really easy to strip. We're just going to let that drain as much as possible, because after it's completely drained, we're going to remove this bolt so we can completely drain the transmission fluid. Alright, so after it's been draining for a minute, I'm just going to continue on. We're going to loosen this. It's a size 17 Allen. It's a big one. And what I like to do, I like to capture it in a bucket so I can kind of know how much fluid I'm going to be putting back. So now we're just going to let that completely drain for a little bit, and then we're just going to top off, and basically we're going to see how much fluid there is. So now we're going to be reinstalling the upper plug, as you can see, and it does have an O-ring, so you want to replace that. I already replaced it. So you want to put that in, make sure by hand. Again, it's a size 17. This is just going to be snug. And then on that tiny little plug on there, this one, there's also another O-ring. You want to replace that as well. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to secure that by hand. You could secure it just a little bit, not too much, because we are going to remove that once again once we fill it up, because we're going to drain the excess fluid. Okay. The up pump, and it's obviously easier to pump it in. I already put 4 quarts in here. It does take around 3.2, but I like to overfill it just a little bit, because once you turn it on, you're going to drain the excess off at that little plug what we were talking about earlier. So I'm just going to go ahead and pump the 4 quarts in there. So after filling up the transmission with the 4 quarts, again, there is another washer on the plug, so you have to replace that as well. Now we're going to install the plug. On this one, if you don't have a torque wrench, you can just snug it. Make sure it's nice and tight. I always say once it's snug, I always go quarter turn. It should be enough, especially for a plug. Alright, so once you top off the fluid inside the transmission, we're going to go ahead and turn on the car. And what we're going to do is we're just going to change the gear selector from reverse to drive. I do a couple of times just to make sure that fluid goes loose. And then put back to park, and then we're just gonna make sure that fluid goes to the correct temperature, and then we're going to remove that small little drain plug. Alright, so we do have our tail scanner hooked up, and we're looking at the live data. We're looking at the fluid temperature on the transmission. So you want to drain the fluid about 104 to 113 Fahrenheit. And when I do, if you don't have a scanner, I do find that you can use a temperature gun. And you kind of have to point it towards right where the laser is. And it's kind of close. If you point away from it, you can see a huge temperature difference. So I found out that if you point it towards kind of close to that drain plug, you're kind of close to what the scanner is doing, okay? So at 104 to 113 is where you want to drain that fluid. So you're going to remove that. Remember, you didn't secure this one all the way. Just hand tight and drain it. And what we're supposed to be seeing is just going to be a small steady stream. Kind of, if you look back at the beginning of that video when we first removed this, that's what we're looking for, just a small steady stream. Once we see that steady flow, we're going to go ahead and pop that small drain plug from there. Just going to secure it away, make sure always by hand. And also make sure that you have to drain between those temperatures, what I said before, at 104 to 113. If you wait for too long, some fluid expands, you could drain too much, and you can have problems with the transmission, so make sure 104 to 113. Alright, that concludes all done.